To whoever may need this nugget of
Welcome to Nowhere Bounded. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey. I embarked on this Nowhere Bounded journey to travel the global road a month after graduating from the Harvard Graduate School of Education. My goal is to understand more cultures in the world, challenge my own bounded sense of self, and share the insights and exchanges with a community of listeners who may be on their own journeys. The through line question of my journey is, am I nowhere bounded, or am I nowhere bounded? The question and the answer is partially dependent on the kindness and openness of the people I meet along the way, the ability for me to build a listener base fast enough to keep the journey going, and just dumb luck that I've already found and lost a few times since setting out. The risk of getting stuck or stranded is actually pretty high, but the opportunity for shared transformation is worth the personal consequence. This is a one-person traveling production. Recently, I had a laptop malfunction, so this episode is being produced, mixed, and edited on my tablet and phone through the Podbean Digital App Studio instead of my normal production process. While this should still be entertaining, it is hard as hell, y'all. Please bear with me. Thank you to my listeners who immediately reached out to offer encouragement and support so that I can get my laptop fixed. You'll be happy to know that I'll have it back on Sunday. Stay tuned for the next episode. You all were a lifeline in such an early make or break moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Without further ado, I hope you enjoy today's show.
Every day is something new, but change gon' come, oh yes, it's true. Brighter days are straight ahead. Follow me, won't be misled. Come back to it.
When I arrived in Bangkok at 7 a.m. and stepped off the plane to catch the public transit into the city center, the first words I wrote in my notes was clean and error. While I stood inside the arrow-marked train platform and waited for the train to arrive. It took me a bit of time to reach that moment, from entering customs to collecting my second backpack from baggage claim and spending 5 to 10 minutes matching my phone's GPS directions to the correct train stop for my kiosk ticket purchase. But once I was there, and once the train arrived and stopped, the conductor signaled and said something to the transit public safety worker, which was followed by a nod and a whistle blow. People exited the train. No one entered but the public safety worker. The doors closed. Then I watched as the worker walked the train car and was met by another worker who swept the car. Another whistle blow. The doors opened, and it was time for us to enter. In between that first train and a transfer, I had to walk over an overpass walkway. I ended up taking my first picture of a beautiful traffic scene of a dozen of motorbikes intermixed between cars at every angle, a traffic pattern that I would later navigate by walking in a car and eventually on the back of a motorbike. In addition to the sight, the sounds of the revving engines, the blowing horns, and other city sounds was my welcome into the city. As I continued my walk over the overpass and re-entered the train platform, I was immediately led by my nose to a stand where an elderly woman was making pancakes. The exchange was my first warm smile and questioning, "Where are you coming from? How long will you be here? Most importantly, which pancake would you like?" The only one I saw available was a corn pancake, which I asked for, but the elderly worker, who reminded me of my late abuela, insisted that I wait a moment for the chocolate pancakes that was on the griddle, the smell that brought me there. Once I had my pancake, we exchanged a few more words in English, as I didn't know a single Thai vocabulary word yet, and we said goodbye. She wished me luck as I turned with my pancake in hand and walked away. My first bite into the treat brought a smile to my face, a sense of calm, and a feeling of a distant home to start my journey.
Okay, guys. What should I tell? I don't know what I'm gonna tell them.
Today was awesome.
Today was awesome?
The first few days, I spent my time going on tour experiences found through apps. The voice you just heard is Sky, who is in university for film and operates one of the bicycle tour companies in the city.
Do the tour. Actually, I'm like really new guys about to be a guide tourist. Yeah, if you want me to tell you something, I will telling you like you can come to join our tour. Yeah, by Airbnb, it's like hidden bike tour, and I want to say, yep, yeah,
See you later.
Oh yeah, sure, okay. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I joined his tour within 2 hours of arriving, putting my bags down, and then taking the public transit again to meet the tour just 5 minutes before it started. I immediately met a few travelers who were either there for work in the city, who were digital nomads, or who were just exploring while on holiday. I spent my time on the bike tour steering the bike through the city's back alleyways and roads with one hand on the steering while taking pictures of the group and the cityscape with the other hand on my camera. We traveled through markets to temples, tasted food and fruit, and learned a little bit of the contemporary culture. It was the perfect first day in Bangkok, but I wasn't even done. Armed with travel platforms, activities for a booming tourist economy, and a strong USD purchasing power, I went outside my typical route and booked a tour to understand the Bangkok club scene. Not that I had anything to compare it with back in the US. The music, the people, the different club environments were all out of this world. This, I thought, was movie worthy. The next tour I went on was a different experience of the city, a market tour at dawn. When all the partygoers were either still out or fast asleep, I met a guy named Kong at the corner of a 7-Eleven at 5 a.m. Kong walked me through a few markets and explained a bit about what was occurring. The dawn market was one for local merchants and merchants from neighboring towns who came to buy bulk items or cultural items such as flowers to place on their vehicles or at their shop for prosperity and health. Kong was a university graduate who majored in tourism and who was from northern Thailand with dreams of going back sooner than later. When she wasn't working in Bangkok, she would go back home and reintegrate into her community where she helped her own grandmother provide for the local monks. Kong was kind enough to teach me some of the meanings of life she had connected through Buddhism tradition and experience. We presented offerings to the Buddhists on their morning walk and were blessed through prayer of fortune and gratitude. We eventually visited a temple as we exchanged perspectives of growth and meaning.
So cute. Like the boys where the moms live, or the moms stay in this live with them cook. But right now we not see them per se out the food offering.
What's the life of a monk?
Sorry?
Like, what do, the monks, they dedicate their lives to?
They trying to practice following the Lord Buddha with their practice their life. Otherwise, it's uncertain. Yeah.
Upon our departure, I felt like I gained insight into an additional consideration for my life. Kong's question, "What lotus stage are you in?" is one that I'll carry forward and ask back to you. What stage of a lotus flower's growth could your own growth be analogous to? Stage 1. Living in the original soil of growth, not ready to bud through the ground and begin a sprout. Stage 2. Somewhere along the water-based sprout past the initial soil, yet maybe not even knowing that you're in water. Stage 3. Just budding the air's surface out of the water, seeing a completely different world, yet only peeping into it without blossoming. Stage 4 represents the full blossom, the embrace of the unknown into the unknown world. See me. Although our human path may never be so singular, linear, and without iteration, considering it for whatever iteration you're in as an additional tool to measure your growth could be useful. The morning I left Bangkok, I took the familiar trip back to the Suvarnabhumi International Airport from the Blue Line to the Suvarnabhumi train line. Once I got off the Blue Line and took the escalator up to catch the connecting train, my nose unexpectedly reminded me of my very first encounter with the elderly woman who reminded me of my abuela. I followed my nose back to the pancake stand. There was a line of 2 others in front of me, and I was far enough away where I couldn't recognize the person working from where I stood. Once it was my time to step up and order, we immediately recognized each other and expressed a huge celebratory welcome. It is one of the audio notes that I regret missing because the moment was filled with unreplicable joy, and I don't want to ever forget her voice. When she asked where I was going, I asked how she was doing. When she asked how I liked Thailand, I responded, it was great. I loved it. We both lingered for a moment before separating. I had to catch a flight, and she had customers. This time, as I walked away with 3 pancakes, 1 raisin, 1 corn, and 1 chocolate, I sincerely hoped that I would see her again, and that I will always be able to hear her warm, cheery welcome, to store away with me as a human who brought tears of connection and joy to my eyes as I rode my last few stops to the airport. When I got to the airport and went to check my backpack, still in a bliss, the airport stewardess told me that I actually went to the wrong airport, but that it was okay because I was so early. With a chuckle for me, the stewardess typed in the correct airport in my phone, instructed me which door to go out of, and to grab a taxi. With that, I was on my way. This is nowhere bounded. It's part of the journey, where personal lack is made up for by strangers willing to step in and fill the voids. I arrived at the correct airport, checked in, and had plenty of time to wonder, what the hell am I doing? How my craziness was still so filled with so much pressure and privilege, and how I would be able to translate such unexpected openness and fortune to a curious audience. In summary, I would say, Bangkok was good to me. The people were good to me. In fact, they were great to me. And I hope to be back sooner than later, if nothing more than to see some of the friends I made along the way. Next stop, Chiang Mai. Hopefully, I'll be more prepared to share more of the human exchanges that made the visit to Bangkok so special. Until then, stay tuned and safe travels. If you like this episode of Nowhere Bounded, please like on the platforms you listen to, subscribe, share with family and friends. Consider becoming a patron supporter so that I can continue to bring you these stories and even eventually interviews. With time, they'll get better, more refined, more connected to an immersive experience. This is Nowhere Bounded. I'm Jason Hill. Stay tuned.
Like an S on our chest. Super proud of how we held it down on the way up. Can't wait for our day to ball. This is a layup. Nobody ever said this would be easy, but trust when I say that you got it. I know you've been looking for